Well, hello everyone. You here to show you right here, like talk about for Jaycee Dugard, for Cake Make Bakery, and you see right here is I went and put together right here is like a drawing painting right here of of your mother and daughter if they were young and have right here for young Dugard right here and but you have right here like if mother and daughter were to be in the kitchen right here, and I of course I did not include a background of anything, maybe a sink or maybe some cabinets or something like that, or maybe a refrigerator, or maybe a stove top or anything like that. You have right here is example right here of like a cake right here. So let's just say if the mom were to be holding any cups, any measuring cups, if it's anything that's related to like what you call it, any samples or anything like that, trying out any recipe samples or anything like that. But but let's just say that if we can call this right here like example right here of like a recipe book, like a cookbook, that you have it to where that if anybody wanted to where that what does it usually mean is to where any recipes that maybe that you thought that maybe okay, well they were used already, or maybe you would just kind of experiment around with it, the different ingredients, especially like between the flour and then the water, and then as well as you add the eggs, and then also the cinnamon, and then the sugar, all those other ingredients. But we talk about for Cake Make Bakery, and I know that you for like mother and daughter would have a lot of things in common, such as if they like the similar things or look at the similar things, or so, like one or whenever they're going to be in the kitchen, especially. But on the other hand, that sometimes we weren't, where do parents often ask the children as to where if you don't like this, like if they, one of them that likes iced tea, I'm like one of them that likes iced tea, or one of them that prefers Kool-Aid other than lemonade or something like that. And I say, why don't you like Kool-Aid? Well, because it's just not flavor, like the lemonade, of course, it's too sour or something. Anybody say that, yeah, between the lemonade and the Kool-Aid, the Kool-Aid that may have a little bit more flavoring or so, but you see right here is it talks about right here for like a Jaycee Dugard, like say for cupcake, and you have right here for sugar belly, and then as well as for butter lip, cousin, and so these right here would be what you call the type of, if we want to call them like maybe like a type of ingredient or so. If there's like I don't know if there's any yeah, like I don't know if there's like anything like butter mix or anything like that that could be known as what you call it, for butter lip cousin or something like that. That I know nowadays with most ingredient, most names for like if it's a butter, or maybe a vegetable oil, or maybe cooking spray or anything like that they would have it to where that yeah, that there's going to be like a particular brand that is known by what you call like a the chef's best lovers or something like that. That you're going to love this or something like that. But still, that you have right here for mamas in the kitchen with the mix and the daughters in the kitchen with the tricks. So the daughter would have like a trick to where that this is what we should use, and then the mama would mix it up, and then it's like I keep thinking that this picture right here kind of reminds me of like knowing about with the Girl Scout cookies, and anybody wanted to where that yeah, if you be making them by scratch, and then maybe people probably say that between the banana and then maybe that honey nut mustard or something like that, or maybe if it's the coconut cookies or something like that. But talk about for cakes, so I know for any type of cakes that whenever we bake them, that do we really, do we bake the cakes necessarily because that we want to see maybe how they're made, or maybe just a special occasion or something like that about mother and daughter being together, especially. So just think about the amount of time that mother and daughter would be spending in the kitchen, especially. But this right here could maybe be like maybe a Mother's Day event, but then I'll go ahead and mention about as if it could be like something maybe for like Christmas time, for like anything related to around Christmas time. That if anybody wanted to, or yeah, you have right here is mother and daughter right here for Jaycee Dugard. If like I say have it there, they will be what you call in the kitchen together, and like arms wrapped around each other, and you have right here's the mom will be holding the cake mix or so, or any type of measuring cups, and like I say, is that if you're going to be in the kitchen, you go ahead and try it and see to try a sample of this, or try like and like blueberry waffles, or if it's anything that maybe breakfast items, or maybe if it's dessert items or just any type of snacks, any type of snack mix or something like that. And I know that some of those cookbooks that may say that fill your mouth with joy or something like that, something that maybe you would like to maybe include on the cookbook is toward it. Something is like, the Cake Make Bakery is something that you fill your mouth up with joy or something. But sometimes, if anybody warned toward between mother and daughter, that sometimes that if it's going to be maybe father and son, or maybe cousins, or if it's going to be maybe sister or so in law, or maybe a girlfriend or boyfriend or anything like that, you're warned toward it whenever we have our differences as toward it. You didn't like the honey nut, you didn't like the honey mustard or something, that you prefer that maybe the ketchup or something like that, or you try a recipe, but then you're going to have somebody that likes this and then somebody else that don't like that. Like I say, yeah, the cookies and cream, chocolate fillet, compared to the the sweet potato, fillet or something, like sweet potato pie, and is the chocolate, quip, or so, cream pie or something, and one of them that could like the chocolate quip, but then the other one could say, well, I like the sweet potato. So it's like, why don't you like the chocolate quip? Like, because it's too sweet. So we may have and I don't know. I keep wondering to her that if there was anything like such as home baked pie, and or maybe if it's a cake, home baked cake, if we can maybe work out to where that give it like a watermelon type taste. And I know that like for any type of watermelon, or maybe if it's any other type of recipe especially, but type of for mother and daughter, spending time together in the kitchen, and just take advice to where that, yeah, that they may have some of their differences, but knowing about how much time they spend in the kitchen, and really that after you get done baking a cake, and I don't know, if anybody say that between a mother and daughter as to where that who gets the biggest piece or anything like that. But you see right here is talked about for cupcake, and if anybody warns us to where it has cupcake, and I know that I think like alright, cupcake has been known as for like a nickname, and if anybody warns us to it, yeah, a nickname I guess is somebody knows your your special recipe for baking a perfect cupcake, and if you know your recipes pretty well about how many cups of milk are equal to about about 15 ounces or so of milk is equal to maybe about 2 cups or something like that. If we've done our measurement, our math, and thinking about right here, as to where that yeah, mother and daughter who would be quizzing each other, as to where they say that okay now mom, I'm gonna go ahead and test you here about how many ounces or so of milk, and from vinegar, and as well as to the vanilla flavoring or so is equal to this amount or something like that. But you have if you're going to be what you call that, you say if you had the recipes memorized, or that if they say look at an actual cookbook and they have you the measuring cups especially. But I drew this right here. This right here would be example right here of a measuring cup, and I know based on her book, it's like a freedom that I drew this a little bit differently. If anybody can see that, is to where I drew this a little bit differently using the Photoshop work, is to where I drew them just a little bit younger, and how right here is that the mom and then the mom and then the daughter right here, as that they were be in the kitchen together, and baking something or cooking something maybe for a special occasion or holiday, or maybe if it's a birthday or something like that, and or just to say on the weekends especially, like what do you think that maybe mother and daughter could be doing maybe on a Sunday night, or maybe on a Friday afternoon or something like that. So I know sometimes that whenever we get real busy, sometimes it seems like to where that whenever we get real busy on a schedule, that we think is toward it. If we're not so busy, maybe during a weekday or so, maybe on a Tuesday afternoon, that you may be used to going to work on that morning, or maybe doing something else, and then it's like, yeah, you go. Let's just say if you go visit somebody, or that maybe if you have join them maybe for maybe for a slice of cake, or maybe some it's like if anything maybe sweet tea, or maybe if it's anything any other type of a recipe especially think about it as to where, yeah, you usually have that maybe on the weekend, but still, that just think about how busy that you get also. But really, for the amount of time you for mother and daughter that they had together as well. But this, I want to mention this right here as to where this right here would be example right here, if like for mother and daughter together right here, and for Jaycee Dugard, for her mom, that that whenever I redrew this, that I kind of want to make it look like if they were to call wore had their arms wrapped around each other's like and then they if they were actually hugging each other while that they were what you call in the spending time in the kitchen baking, and then just having a good time. And sometimes you're like Warren toward it, whenever mother and daughter are going to be in the kitchen together, and it's like Warren tour whenever daughter gets older, and then it's like Warren tour, especially whenever they turn over the age of 18, and knowing that well, mom, I know what I'm doing. Well, like, well, don't forget to preheat the oven, and don't forget to wash your hands or anything like that. So if anybody warns us toward it, yeah, that the things, that typical things that mother and daughter would remind each other to do. And anything about after you pull those out of the oven, make sure that you include the icing or anything like that, the icing or the flavoring and maybe the sugar. But so far as cookies though, is that I'm sure most of us have had our experience baking cookies, and just say you would be while you were baking them, you would be rolling the dough, and then fixing the mix, working with the mix, and then you would be able to add some of your own ingredients. And sometimes, if anybody warrants us toward it, whenever you bake something that you warrant toward it, is it possible that maybe somebody that could be maybe adding just a little bit more flavoring or a little bit more sweetness? It's like, yeah, that usually about maybe 28 grams of sugar would normally be added maybe for a cake mix or something like that, up to 23 or so grams of sugar. But let's just say if somebody want to include about maybe 40 grams of sugar, and they say if something's going to have a lot of sugar in it. But still, that about the sugar, and as well as maybe for the eggs, and maybe for any other type of flavoring, especially for the ingredients. But if anybody warrants us to really, what does mamas and puppies, what is that? And I was thinking about as to where that what would that be an example of a name necessarily? And mamas and puppies, and I could probably say that, yeah, that that would that I would say that would be maybe an example right there of like maybe anything related to maybe flour. If anybody would say that if you're going to be adding any flour, that a special kind of make of flour. And I'm sure most of us have heard of mid muffins or something like that, baking flour. But mamas and puppies. I'm like, I don't know if there's a brand called Mamas and Puppies or anything like that. But anyway, but you have right there is a Photoshop over here. It's like for Jaycee Dugard, and if you have right here for mother and daughter in the kitchen together, and baking, and then baking a cake, and if it's going to be like maybe on a birthday, and well, I know it's like especially around Christmas time about the gingerbread man, or the gingerbread, or if it's going to be if anybody wanted to where that there's going to be. I really don't know if anybody has tried to make any type of gingerbread ponies or horses or anything like that, but still, that if you're going to be making any type of gingerbread animals, and maybe the lion or the zebra, or if it's maybe the penguins, or maybe the anything maybe the cows or something like that, but anything farm animal related, and you're like Warren toward it, yeah, that sandwich cookies, especially the sandwich cookies. But really, that I can remember like baking. It's like can be a lot of fun too, and you're like Warren toward it's about spending more time, equal time together for much as you like, or if it's a bias toward it, yeah, well, it's whenever you're baking something that sometimes you may put a little bit extra in there, especially, but really that really maybe not everybody's gonna want to spend more than an hour or two in the kitchen maybe baking chocolate chip cookies. Maybe one of the reasons why is because they don't want to have to deal with preheating the oven and putting it in the oven and taking it out of the oven and waiting for it to cool, and all that, and a few of those other ingredients, and you want something pre-made. Really, I guess to say depend on your appetite, depend on how hungry you are also. But still, if you want like a daily snack though, they say that yeah, anything which is is anything that's going to take less than 9 minutes just to be able to make. But still, yeah, for any type of a bakery products that we're like Warren toward it. Yeah, that is toward it. One thing I did want to talk about is toward what, how do we usually handle it to where that is somebody that they don't like the brownies, but then they like the cookies. It's like you don't like the chocolate chip cookies, but then you like the chocolate chip brownies. Why do you like the brownies better? Like, well, I can't. I would like to not to explain why, but that's just the way it is. Like I like the brownies better, or I like the chocolate chip cookies better. So if anybody wanted to, between peanut butter and pecans, or if it's anything such as coconut or anything like that, and coconuts, or maybe if it's a raspberries, or maybe it's the strawberry vanilla flavoring or anything like that. But still, that for any type of recipes that you're going to be making it, that somebody that may like this, they may say that their favorite, of course, was the chocolate chip, but then you may like the peanut butter, and then or maybe you may like the coconut instead. And somebody may say, well, not too many people I know of like coconut. I'm like, if you like the coconut, well, that's fine, but why do you even like it? Like, well, do I even have to explain why I like the coconut, or just think about it toward for what's available? But still, if anybody warned toward it, some people that may like the coconut better, maybe than the chocolate chip, but still, that you're going to have maybe these flavorings, and do we all really have to explain why that we like this better or we like that better, or just stay by just the way it is? That person likes them, well, you can just respect that. But anyway, but talk about for Cake Make Bakery, and talking about right here is that for like a bakery, for if anybody warns us toward it, that if this was right here was kind of example of like the Jace Foundation, that for just ask yourself to care. And yeah, and I know a few people that may say is toward it, that would they actually do that maybe on a cupcake or a cookie or a brownie, toward it they would include like maybe like a little smiley face on a cupcake on the cookie, and saying is toward it that this is a for I made this for you just for appreciation or anything like that, or maybe they include like maybe a special napkin. If anybody warns us toward, you may have heard that before about special recipes, but how many of us have made any kind of special napkin to use a special napkin to where you can clean yourself if you were getting if you had icing or maybe flavoring on your hands or so, and you're like wanting to a washable napkin. And I don't know, I guess maybe not quite a few people that use the aprons, but then not too many people that use the napkins, the washable napkin. And so you're like wanting to her that yeah, if there's going to be a washable napkin, you'll want her to wear if it's going to be dishwasher safe, especially. But you have right here for Cake Make Bakery, and anything that you can maybe think about that you want to use in the kitchen, maybe even a baking timer, and then maybe a thermometer as well, and maybe a few measuring cups and spoons or some sort, and you're like wondering, for any type of decimal fraction as to where who gets the biggest slice, and who gets to cut the cake first or something like that. But for any source of activity, but anyway, with the talk about for Jaycee Dugard is that that's really what I want to mainly talk about, is to where the differences between mother and daughter is that between mom and daughter, that they would have maybe their favorites, their favorite items maybe just a little bit different, compared, and they may both like a particular item also, and one of those could be is toward that anything related to, like which call it for buttermilk, the buttermilk cakes or something like that. But anyway, but they have a talk about right here is like with it this right here, like for mother and daughter together right here. And if anybody warns this to her, yeah, so I say that if I drew this picture as a like, if I say for smile for the camera, it's to her that yeah, that just spending time with family and friends, and then just think about it whenever this picture was taken, and think about as to how much equal time that a mom is able to spend with their daughter, especially after they've been missing for after 18 years and just kind of rebuild rebuild the freedom as it is that to where that but anyway but you have right here that I'm sure most of us who have read the book about Talk About for Freedom have seen from this the picture right here is that it would show something like maybe like a cutter's knife or something like that, but I include right here is the measuring cups right here. So the way I drew this is I kind of had a repicture about what I wanted to use about for how I wanted to draw Jaycee, and as well as for her mom right here if they were be in the kitchen, and if they had the nice dresses on, and if they were to be baking a cake and thinking necessarily toward okay, and then while you're in the kitchen and they ask you to go ahead and try a sample of something, and I know if anybody say that, yeah, especially the cookie mix that you want to go ahead and if anybody say that, yeah, that it's not very healthy to eat it raw. I'm like, eat raw cookie dough, or if it's maybe pudding mix, pudding mix. And I warn to anything before anything that can go in the oven. I guess they say I guess it's okay just to have a little sample of it, just to see if it tastes good. I'm like, if you need to have maybe more vegetable oil, or maybe add a little bit more butter to it, or something like that, or anything like maybe sweet honey, or any other source of ingredient that you would add to the mix before you actually bake it. And if anybody warns us toward it, yeah, that you would taste the sample, and sometimes I guess that somebody's able to tell if it's really mixed right just by just how it tastes, but I'm sure anybody would probably say it's not very healthy. You would eat it, eat a whole lot of it, but still, that whenever it's baked. But anyway, I can remember that somebody asked me that whenever I was in school, actually, to where why is it that most of our food products would have to be, why do they need to be cooked, just before the day could be served? But and if anybody were to where, especially if you're going to be working as a waitress at any type of restaurant or so, and think about as to where anything on the menu, and it's like if you're about ready for dessert, and like say, well, if this is supposed to be like any type of special occasion that they read something off the menu, it's like, okay, I'll go ahead and take your order, okay? Well, what would you like? I like the muffin cakes, or if it's maybe the banana swirl, cream pie or something, or maybe if it's the potato cake, or the sweet honey bun, sweet honey bun swirl, yeah, pudding or something like that. So if anybody say that anything particular on the menu, especially, but anyway, so yeah, that's just about mamas in the kitchen with the mix and daughters in the kitchen with the tricks. But still, it seems like a story that anything in particular about this, like you were being in the kitchen together. And like I say, really, can you spend all day in the kitchen? And just thinking this story that yeah, that what do you usually do whenever you have a baking time? Especially maybe for the Thanksgiving turkey, or if it's maybe anything about maybe the pies, or maybe the cakes, or any other type of dessert mix, like if it's going to be, maybe the cupcakes or the brownies. If you got about 45 minutes until they are ready to be pulled out of the oven, that what do a mother and daughter usually do during the time that they're waiting? I guess some that may say that that's whenever they say that it's time to clean up, after they work with the mix, or did they? I guess that's maybe that they spend the 25 minutes maybe cleaning up, before the stuff is taken out of the oven, or they can maybe be saved toward it. Yeah, that they can maybe be snacking on something, while they're waiting or anything like that. But on the other hand, if anybody warned toward it, yeah, you can maybe eating something that came out of the oven from earlier. So like say, while the brownies are baking, that we'll go ahead and have the cupcakes, and then maybe something else to snack on as well. But anyway, a number of things that we can maybe find in the kitchen that you say that use in the oven, and then something that you want to pop in the toaster, or maybe in a microwave or something, and I know if anybody warned toward anything that you think that you would keep in the refrigerator that you would like to snack on, especially that pudding. I'm like, yeah, Jello. And I know if anybody were like warned toward that, like Jello. I'm like, if you're going to be I don't know too many people that really like Jello, and it's like, cause I know I liked Jello whenever I was young, and I kept thinking about it as to where whenever you make Jello, that as how many people would have that, especially on Thanksgiving. But anyway, but there you go. Like talk about for Jaycee Dugard, like for the Cake Make Bakery, and just showing people here like a little bit my drawing artwork right here, and it's like for the recipes. And thanks for watching, everyone. It's like and have a great day.